Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to go from this to this. By doing the unicorn cut. Now I'm not going to be taking off a huge amount of hair today. All I want to really do is just take off the sort of straggly ends in my lengths. I want to give round my face a little bit more of a shape. And my layers, I'm just going to take up just a little bit more, so they're about shoulder length at the moment, and I want them sort of up below just below my ears, jawline sort of thing. I'm also not going to take off too much because I'm on about day 5 hair, so as a result the curls have started to drop quite a lot. Before I cut my hair, I'm going to give it a really good wash, and that combined with the trim, I think is just going to help my hair spring back up and give a little bit more bounce and volume. And with that, let's get started. So my hair is freshly washed. I kept it loosely wrapped up in this top whilst I did my makeup, so it still feels pretty damp. I did my usual wash day routine, which for those of you that haven't seen it, I will post a link in the description box. And all I've done is brush through a blob, probably about that big, of Boots curl cream, just to give it that little bit of slip and make it a bit easier to comb while I'm cutting it. So what you will need to do this haircut is a couple of claw clips and a hair tie, a spray bottle to keep your hair nice and wet and slippery. This is just filled with fresh warm water, a brush, and a comb to help with sectioning. I'm going to give my hair just a little spritz just on top to keep it nice and damp, and I'm going to start by sectioning out the front bit of my hair for my face framing part. And you can see my hair has gone into its natural part already. I did used to put it in a side parting, but apparently that makes you old now. So now I let it go, it's just slightly off centre. Now I'm just going to turn the camera around slightly because I've got my mirror here because I can't see what I'm doing otherwise. The way I measure out my front face framing pieces is I take my comb, press it against my hairline, and where the comb starts to lift off, that is the section. So I'm going to comb it down to just in front of my ear. There should be a nice clean line. I apologise if you see any bald spots. The postpartum hair loss is still going strong at 13 months. Okay, so now I've sectioned the front bits, I'm just going to get them tied up out the way while I clip back the rest of my hair. Now what I'm next going to do is measure out the shortest part of my layers, which at the moment you can see fall sort of halfway down my neck, almost to my collarbones I'd say. I'm going to cut about that much off, so I'm just going to measure out a small triangle in the front section of my hair and show you how to cut that. Okay, so you can just about make out the triangle there. So I'm just combing it nice and neat. And as I said, I'm going to cut it so it sort of just sits below my chin. So that's how much I'm going to cut off. So I've got my hairdressing scissors here that I just bought from Superdrug. So the way you do it is you put your thumb in the bottom hole, ring finger in the top, and rest your pinky on the little finger rest and try and just move your thumb. So all I'm going to do is just snip, snip, snippity snip. In my part again, make sure they stop at about the same spot. There's a tiny bit longer here, so So again, I'm just going to snip off these little long straggly bits. So there we have it. Next, I'm going to use these short bits that I've just cut as the guideline for these. And as I said, around here the postpartum hair loss is still very real. So what you need to do next, my hair's already starting to dry where I've not got much product in it, so I'm just going to give it a little spritz just to keep it nice and slippy. And then that's what I was talking about. Keeping my fingers up and parallel to my head. I use the short bits as a guide, so this little straggly bit is what's going to get snipped. And then you should so you see it's got a nice little gradient going down. And then I'll do the same on the other side. And doing it this side, your fingers will now be pointing down. So there's the short bit that I cut first. So I'm just going to snip up into that. For some reason, the postpartum hair loss isn't as bad on this side, so it's a little bit thicker. Obviously, I don't particularly want to chop right up into this bit, so I'm just going to leave that bit for now. But you can see, like I said, it's got just a nice natural gradient going on. And you can see here, where it's started to spring back up, I'm hoping when it's dry, it will be sort of level with my chin, maybe the corners of my mouth. So now I've done my face framing parts, I'm going to show you how to cut some layers into your hair. So first of all, I'm going to tie up the front bits just to keep them out of the way, so we don't end up chopping off more hair than we want, which has happened to me before. So tie it up nice and tightly. So now I'm going to let down the rest of my hair. Again, it's started to dry, so I'm going to give it a nice spritz. And then get it nice and detangled. Now you might have seen people demonstrating the unicorn cut by putting the ponytail here, but I've already done the face framing parts, so my ponytail is going to go on top of my head. Whew! Okay, so I put my hair up in its unicorn ponytail. It actually took a good 15 minutes, I would say, so I switched the camera off for that part, but we're back. So what I'm going to do now is get it as smooth as possible. Make sure, as I tug the back of my ponytail, that's pulling me about here, so the back of my head, front of the ponytail, if I can find the front, yeah, it's pulling sort of about there. Again, brushing it so it's all smooth. And then what I'm going to do is slide my fingers down the length of the ponytail, and this is what we're going to be cutting today. So same grip, snip, and I'm just going to quickly go over it with the comb as well, just to make sure I've sort of taken off the right level of hair. See here, that's the curl cream sort of almost lathering up. Again, slide. You can see this little bit's escaped. Now let's see how it looks so far. Now I don't know about anybody else, but when I first take my hair down after doing this, I always panic thinking I've taken all the length off. But you can see it's still there. When it's wet, it hangs more or less down to my waist. So ideally, I don't want to take too much off because, you know, I love my aerial hair. But I do need to take off sort of the little straggly bits. So what I'm going to do is just comb my hair straight down with my head sort of turned to the side, and this will help create a softer shape at the back. So as I said, I don't want to take too much off. Probably just that little bit. And then same for the other side. And then just to make sure it's all even, and then what I like to do is where it meets in the middle, there's any sort of little bits that are slightly longer, which there are, just snip them off. So now the cut's finished, what I'm going to do is style it and dry it, and then I'll be back to show you guys how to finish it off and the final results. So there we go, my hair is still slightly damp in some spots, but it is probably about 90% dry, and you can see as I'm moving my head it's a lot bouncier, it's a lot happier. So what I'm going to do now is just take a look at the parts of my hair that I think might need a little bit of extra tweaking. So you can see it's got the nice sort of gradient going down. This, don't know if the camera's picking it up, there's a little bit that goes ever so slightly longer than the rest of the clump, so that's gone. And this is just to tidy up the overall look. That side doesn't look too bad. And the top layers. They're looking not too bad. This one's got a little bit extra. What I have done in the past is what's called the double unicorn cut, and that's where you section off the top layers of your hair, put that in the same sort of ponytail as you did before, and then cut a little bit extra. But I think my hair is probably getting a bit too long to bother doing that now, because I've found when I've done it in the past, I think it was the last time I did it, I had sort of lots of layers here, and then it was all sort of one length at the bottom half of my head. So I'm trying to sort of keep the look a bit more even. So I'm just sort of picking up any little sections of hair that have just got these little extra bits. What I have done in the past is I've pulled my hair straight and then cut it, and then of course it's sprung up. So I try and sort of keep the curl quite slack as I'm looking through. So as I said, this is just neatening up the overall look, getting your curls. Obviously it depends how sort of uniform you want them. Like, that is the beauty of curly hair, is if you don't want to sort of do this, you don't really have to. So as you can see, the layers on this side are sort of more up here, whereas they're sort of further down. So I just want to sort of just try and get these ones just a wee bit shorter. I don't want to like take too much off. So there. And it just blends back in. Check the length as well. I think this little bit might need taking just a tad more because it feels that little bit longer than the rest. So I'll pull my hair back round to the front. Like I said in the beginning, I don't want to take too much off the length, but I also don't want wonky ends. Then just put it together. There we go. So this is all we've taken off. I would say probably about 3 inches max, but I think it has made quite a big difference to how my hair looks. So that was the modified unicorn cut for wavy curly hair. Let me know in the comments what you thought and if you've tried this particular haircut. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye! I just want to quickly say as well, don't panic too much if your hair goes a bit crazy after it's been cut. Curly hair can sometimes go into shock after a haircut, but give it a couple of washes and it should be fine. It does always help if I press record. I just filmed a really good intro and it didn't record. Okay. Because I'm on about day 5. I'm also not taking off too much because I'm on about I've just kept it wrapped up in this towel. It's a top. A brush to help. Ugh. I know why you use a brush. Why am I finding this so difficult? Now, first of all, where's my spray book gone? And you can see. Why did I think there was something up there? I'm seeing things. The way I measure out my front face. You can see there as well the baby hairs. Oh, I swear motherhood's a wonderful thing. Hair is so slippery. So what I'm going to do now is, I would say probably